Happy Monday, fifth graders. It is February 8th, and hopefully you have your bell work all done, and now you're just checking it with me. Make sure your answers match mine, unless I mess up. That happens sometimes. Then your answer can be the right answer. Okay. To start off, I ask you to change each mixed number into an improper fraction. This is going to prove to be helpful to you this week as we're learning how to multiply mixed numbers. So here we go. All I have to do, because I know that this 3 here means I have 3 groups of 8/8. So that means 8 times 3, which is 24, plus 1 is 25/8. So again, all we're doing is we're multiplying the denominator by the whole number and adding that extra numerator. Your denominator never changes. So the 8 times 3 plus 1, that's how I get my numerator. Denominator stays the same. For number 2, 4 times 8 is 32, and 32 plus 3 is 35, and my denominator doesn't change. And for number 3, 9 times 5 is 45, plus 2 is 47/9. All right, the second part, I ask you to change each improper fraction to a mixed number. So improper means there's more on the top than on the bottom. That means these are greater than 1 whole, because this means I have more than 8/8, 8/8 being 1 whole. So with this, I ask myself, how many groups of 8/8 are in 11/8? And that's 1. So 8 times 1 is 8, and then 9, 10, 11. There's 3 left over to get to the 11 out of 8. To double check it, I could do what I did up here. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11/8. So that's one way you can check your work. For number 5, I'm going to ask myself 3 times what gets me closest to 23? And I know that 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 8 is 24, so that would be too high. So 3 times 7 is 21. To get from the 21 to the 23, there's 2 extra out of 3. And again, 3 times 7 is 21, 22, 23 thirds. We can go right back and double check it. For number 6, I know that 4 times 4 is 16, so that's too big. So this has to be 3 4s. 4 times 3 is 12, 13, 14, 15, 3 extras out of 4. And again, to check it, 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 3 is 15/4. Awesome. Okay, now we just have some basic multiplying fractions to solve, and we're always going to be looking to see, can I cross simplify before I solve this thing out? And if you don't see anything before you start, you can always simplify it at the end. It's not a huge deal. It just makes it a little bit faster to solve it. Okay, so for starters, 5 and 7, there's not a number other than 1 that goes into 5 and 7, so we're good. The same with 2 and 9. I can't count by 2s to get to 9, so I'm just going to straight up multiply my numerators. 5 times 2 is 10. And multiply my denominators. 9 times 7 is 63. And that is simplest form. There's not a number other than 1 that goes into both of those. For number 8, maybe you multiplied across and you just got 4/72, and then you noticed, oh, those are both even, and you could simplify them. So 4/72, you shouldn't leave it. What you could do, when you see this 4 and this 8 that are diagonal from one another, I know that 4 is the largest number that will divide into 4 and 8, so I'm going to divide 4 by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So I just divided each number by the largest number that divides into both, diagonally, cross-simplifying. 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 9 is 18. So 1/18 should be your final answer. If you had 4/72, then I'm guessing you divided by 2, and then you probably divided by 2 again, and you'd get down to this 1/18. So 1/18 is what you should have. For number 9, I noticed that there's a whole number here, and I learned for the standard algorithm that I'm supposed to multiply the numerators and then the denominators, and this one doesn't have a denominator, so I'm going to put 1. Now when I look at my cross numbers here, 3 and 1, there's nothing I can do. 8 and 7, nothing I can do. So I'm going to multiply across the top. 3 times 7 is 21, and 8 times 1 is 8. And notice, this is improper. Like, this is not improper. I can leave it like that, but this is improper. The top has more than the bottom. That means this is greater than 1. So I'm going to write this as a mixed number. So 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24, which is too much. So it has to be 16. So 16, to get from 16 to 21 would be 5, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 5 left over, and your denominator doesn't change. So 2 and 5/8 is what I want you to have for your final answer. Okay, we're on number 10. When I look diagonal here, 9 and 7, they don't have a factor other than 1, but 5 and 10, 5 is the biggest number that divides into both of those without a remainder. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. Now, if you didn't do this, you ended up with 45 over 70, right? And then you would have to simplify that. You'd have to probably start off by dividing by 5. So 9 times 1 is 9. 2 times 7 is 14. So if you had 45 70ths, 45 70ths, they can both be divided by 5 to end up bringing you back down to the 9/14. 9/14 is what you should have. Okay, for number 11, you could do 1 times 12 is 12, and 4 times 15, that's 60. And 12 60ths you could simplify, actually by dividing them both by 12. Or we can say, wait a minute, 1 and 15 I can't do anything with, but 4 and 12, 4 goes into 4, and 4 goes into 12. 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 12 3 times. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 15 is 15. Now I can still simplify this more, and the reason this happened was because 12/15 wasn't in simplest form to start. So you could have simplified that one and then multiplied as well. Either way, we should notice, okay, this isn't simplest form because I can still divide them both by something. 3 divided by 3 is 1, 15 divided by 3 is 5. So whether you just simplified that 12/15, because 3 goes into both of those, or you cross-simplified, no matter what you do, your final answer should be 1/5. That's what you end up with. All right, number 12, I see that there is a whole number 4, so I'm gonna put a 1 under it, and there's that 4 and 12 again. I know 4 goes into both of those. 4 goes into 4 once, and into 12 3 times. And 7 times 1 is 7, and 3 times 1 is 3. And let's see, 3, 6, okay, I can fit 2 groups of 3/3 into 7/3. And 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 to get that 7. So 2 and 1/3 is what you should have for that final answer. Thanks for watching.